Hello and welcome to another episode of the Channeled Perspective. I'm your host Justin Land, and today I have with me Kimberley Late or Light?
Late, you can say it late. Yeah.
That's the same mistake I made last
you can
time.
say light, that's cool as well. But
because it's the German way of pronouncing it. Because there's a lot of, that's actually a German word too. Well, the E before the I, but
there you go.
Light.
This is Portuguese, so
totally different.
Pronounced late.
Yeah, nice. I'm happy to have you on the podcast. Again, I had you on Philosophy and just revamping a little bit, changing the focus to more the channeled side of things in all aspects of life. And obviously you're a channel, a voice channel that you channel many different beings. I've noticed Isis. For me, last time you channeled the Archangel Michael. And so do you have is there a certain go-to source for you that you feel the most called by as far as
so I channel a range of different beings, and they range from what we call as ascended masters, gods, goddesses, archangels, ETs. So I basically channel all beings of light. So they're non-physical beings that come through to teach oneness from a place of love. But I would say that the being that I channel the most, if there was such a being, would be Ascended Master Lakeshma. So some of you who are familiar with my work, I actually channel her every month. So you'll find videos of her on YouTube. I'm actually currently writing a book also, channeled through her. And so basically she comes through with the New Earth teachings because she explains that her time in Atlantis was the time of the first great awakening of humankind. And there's a lot of parallels to what is going on here with the biggest great awakening here, which is our transition to our new Earth. And, I have a special connection with her as well. And that's why she's so connected with me. It's because in Atlantis, I was actually her daughter. So there you go. Nice. A cool little link there. And I was a keeper of the Ascension Teachings then. And, I'm doing it again this lifetime as well as many other lives. So I have a special connection with her. That's a very unique connection. But of course, I channel, a range of different beings as well. So basically, it all depends, So for instance, if I'm doing a private session, I usually ask my client, is there a specific being you'd like me to bring forth for you? Or is it just anyone, are you just happy with whoever comes through? And usually whoever comes through is someone who is close to them, a guide. As you know, we have millions of spirit guides, but usually in certain periods of our life, certain ones are more at the forefront. So that's usually what happens there. And then the ones you see, for instance, on YouTube, usually they're voted on through my through members in my Patreon community, and they usually vote on. So basically there's a large variety, but Lakeshma would be the one I do channel the most.
Okay. And so even ETs, they would be then obviously quasi-physical, non-physical. They're the half kind of thing, right? I mean, they're not completely non-physical.
Oh yeah. So I mean, of course, the way you can channel, of course, the ETs, they come in our dimensional experience. So a lot of ETs are not in our dimension, so they are in non-physical planes. But because I'm channeling them, I channel basically the non-physical aspect of them. So it's basically the same as channeling any being. And because they do come through me in oneness, the teachings that come through me is based on oneness, using many, universal laws. And they actually teach that, even though we might see these beings as external, they're actually not. So it doesn't actually really matter their label. I mean, I just do it for fun, and they kind of honor our belief systems of duality because it helps us, pay more attention, right? Because, it's coming from an ET, but they teach that all these beings are actually us.
Yes.
Right. So it doesn't matter who you're actually channeling. And that's just, that doesn't go just for the beings I channel. That's all channels. All these non-physical beings are actually aspects of us in oneness. So so basically they all provide a similar message of oneness, yet, depending, they usually have a unique perspective, let's say little areas of, specialty, so to speak.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We know how like Eckhart Tolle, he was, or his entryway has been the now. Like he's always talked about the now. And it sounds to me like this entryway of these non-physical, what you're dealing with is the oneness aspect, which of course is related. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that. This idea of oneness. How does that? How does that express itself, and how do these messages? What are they? I mean, how can they give us the feeling of oneness? What is it about that?
Yeah, sure. So oneness ties into many universal laws, like many of you are probably familiar with law of attraction, for instance. So basically in this reality, this is what we see as duality, right? I see you and me as separate beings. We see our world as an external world, but in higher truth, all the world we see is inside of us because we are actually source God. We are projections of source God. It's just that we have forgotten, right? So there's this notion where, you know, we have to gain enlightenment, we have to gain the answers, but really all this information is actually within us. So it's actually a journey about unlearning our limited beliefs and basically by peeling back those layers of conditioning that limits us, right, we start to remember who we truly are, and we start to have all our, you know, our divine abilities come online, our special abilities. So they're actually already within us. So of course, oneness is a very big topic, but how we can experience oneness here is basically me and you, we are one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's about, for instance, a lot of people have, you know, negative emotions in regards to another person, right? Like you get triggered by another person. So, you know, universal laws of reflection, basically with this one, you can practice oneness with someone else, right? If someone triggers you, they are reflecting a limiting belief you have within you. So for instance, you can use this tool to remember that they are your master teacher, they are an aspect of you. And by doing that, you are actually doing oneness in action within the illusion of physical reality. Because even though we are one, of course, it's a bit hard to see we are one because we're kind of very attached to this concept of duality. But oneness is kind of letting go of the notion that even though I channel through the beings of the light, it's about knowing that they are part of us and we are part of them. And there is no one that is, you know, more advanced than one another. Even those that you see as awake or unawakened, we're all equal, we're all highly advanced. It is just some chose to play the role, right? And we call these light workers to basically remember their light, to remember their powers first, so then they can be tapped into this oneness consciousness that is within all of us, because we are that, and to go out and inspire others. And it doesn't have to be this large overt role like what I'm doing now, for instance. It could be just maintaining your light and being that beacon of light for others, inspires others. So there's many different ways you can do that. So basically it's just peeling back the layers of the onion, so to speak. We have been highly conditioned of things being separate, wrong or bad, right? In higher truth, you know, it's just neutrality. However, as a human being, we can get to that place of oneness by seeing everything from a point of unconditional love. That's who we truly are. And unconditional love is acceptance for everything. You don't have to agree with certain things, but it's about in acceptance. And as you do that, you can focus more on frequencies of love. And as you do that in your life, you know, you raise your frequency. And then as you do that, you know, you address your limiting beliefs and so forth. And that's when you get fine-tuned to who you truly are. So you might call them, you know, messages from your spirit guides or your higher self or God, however you like to call it. But you become more sensitized to picking up these messages. But these messages, even though you might think or even perceive, some of you who are very sensitive, they're coming from an external source, you know. But all these spirit guides is actually all within us. So you are actually tapping into the wisdom of your own being. So it's basically showing that the power is not outside of us. It has always been within us, and that we are the powerful ones. There is no one powerful than us, even though we might perceive it as that. but it's about letting go of these conditionings that we've placed on ourselves and society's placed on us, remembering that we are love, right? Remember that we are powerful, and that by doing this, you'll find that you'll have certain abilities come online. You know, some of them might be very surprising to you. You know, you might call these, you know, psychic abilities, but we all have these. It's just that we've been so highly conditioned to be kind of pinched off from these, you know. So it's about just aligning to who we are. And it's always about going inwards into your heart center. They like to teach a lot about the importance of the heart center and how this is the portal to who you truly are. So it's basically just, you know, letting go of what's no longer needed to remember who you truly are.
That's a nicely put. I think that channels have this special relationship to the oneness aspect, obviously, because they physically, when they're channeling another being, they are melding their energy with that frequency of that being. And I think you're realizing that it's coming from you. And yet it is not what you would, I mean, obviously, you're seeing through the veil, you're feeling the other side a little bit, but you can't stay there, and you're seeing, and when something possesses you, right? I mean, some people would give it kind of that connotation of a possession of sorts, then you realize that there's the multitude within you that other people don't have so much privy to. They don't allow themselves to be completely, you know, used as a vessel, or allowing themselves to be used as a vessel. How's that feel? I mean, like, that was obviously adjustment for you to come to that state of being where you could, you know, stream all these different energies. Does it still feel a bit awkward? And then has it helped you understand from a feeling side what oneness is?
Definitely. So basically how I started channeling was I was more attached to duality, because that was the process of how I knew I was channeling, right? So, you know, when I started channeling, I would see actual apparitions in front of me, right? Because I was attached. What they do is they honor our belief systems. So the more we let go of duality and remember oneness, there is no need for them to present themselves in an external way. And they come forth in a way that is aligned to your dimensional experience, your vibration. So, of course, there was certain techniques, and I would tune into their energies. And like at the very start, I would see them, you know, staying in front of me. I did some visualization techniques. And to this very day, even though I recognize they are coming from within me, things have shifted because, and I'm sure many channels might have a similar experience, is that it feels like the channeling abilities is getting weaker, because you start, for me anyway, because I'm aligning more and more to oneness, remembrance, is that they appear less and less as apparitions. So now I don't really see them. I can sometimes see them in my mind's eye, but what happens is that I still have this visualization process when I tune into these beings, just for myself. But basically there is a process, you know, like visualization, and then I do see a visual representation of them within my being. For instance, if I turn my head, then it's this being turning their head, for instance. Because of my abilities, I can see a visual representation of what they look like. But in saying that, you know, they are all unique frequencies of source. And I also channel source. But it might be a bit interesting to know that even though I channel source, I enjoy channeling the separate beings of the light, because source is energy code. It's not an actual being, right? Mm-hmm. It's universal life force energy. And I actually like to channel beings with personalities, right? Because even though they're source, there are unique frequencies of source just like us. Mm. And I like to tap into that energy. And because basically this energy comes through me, and because I'm aligned to a certain dimensional existence, aligned to oneness, it means they come through in a unique way, right? That's aligned to this. And this is why, for instance, I might channel the same a particular being, like Goddess Isis, for instance, and there'll be someone else that channels Goddess Isis. And And it'll be different representations of Goddess Isis because they're multidimensional beings just like us. If a channel is aligned to some, for instance, very aligned to duality, right? They're going to channel a dimensional expression of Isis that is aligned to that frequency. So that's why every channel is unique. Everyone's multidimensional, and even the beings of the light. So yeah, so when I channel them, it has changed over the years. Before I used to really feel the massive shift of energy. Now I don't feel it that much. I more just visually see it, and I have certain confirmations that's unique to me in the way I channel. And then, so basically I'm still in the background as Kimberley, like I become the observer, but I don't have any control of really what I say. And because it's coming through me, I'm the filter. Of course, the language might be more aligned to me as Kimberley because, I'm the one that's speaking the words, right? So, and what happens is that their personality also comes through, which is very cool. And then basically when the session's complete, when it kind of balances out to just me, I guess, if you'd like to call it just me, even though they're all us, right. That's when I feel the big energy shift and I feel completely high. Nice. And, but yeah, it's just, a very interesting journey. And, everyone has this ability to channel because it's us. Yes. I'm not someone special just because I channel. Yes, it aligns to my, what we call as soul contracts. I've done this, many lives, as you like to, people who know much about, past lives and so for multidimensional lives, that we come in each life with certain, missions, soul purposes. And perhaps that's why, I'm aware that I can channel, but everyone has these abilities to channel. Right. So it's just believing that you're powerful enough that you can channel, that you have all this wisdom. And, the beings of the light, they always say that no matter how advanced the message might seem, they always say that this is information that you already know. It's just you have forgotten it. Yes. So it really helps to empower you to know that you are also very, very powerful. And it's just a journey of remembering who you are.
Oh, it's at this time, very much, I feel like channeling the idea, of course, in the new age, the modern age comes, we can look at maybe Seth as being that first kind of on the mainstream kind of idea in the 60s and 70s, I think that came out. And we see now that it's developed and changed and become more accessible to people. I feel like it's something like, the idea of beliefs, especially for, when nobody believed that, I don't know, it was like the 4-minute mile or the 5-minute, I guess the 4-minute mile. Nobody believed that you could run a mile in 4 minutes or less, right? And I guess it was this guy's name, Richard something. I think it was a British guy. He broke that. He ran it. And like within a month or a couple months after, like 13 other people did it. And there's something going on here, like when we see it with people like yourself, you're giving other people that in their belief system, the allowance that such a occurrence can happen, that it's something that one didn't ever believe one could do oneself. And just in your being, you're showing other people they can do it as well. And it's a very, I think that just opens up so many possibilities. And I don't know about the channeling of, what do you call it? It's trans channeling, right? Where you completely, when you step back, right? And the other being.
That's right. They speak through me.
Speak through you. That's and to maintain that frequency for a while, that is, I mean, for myself, it's not, I don't have the drive to do that, or I feel something else going on where, it feels like through conversations like this, I'm also learning and, to just allow information to come out and not censor myself, which is a kind of channeling. And I don't, I've seen other types of mediumship, for example, Paul Selig, also a trans channel. He does this medium, you've heard Paul Selig, right? The word, I'm word.
No, I haven't actually.
No, you gotta check him out. He's getting more mainstream, very interesting.
Oh, cool.
His style is, it's a struggle sometimes for him. You see that because Paul's in the discussion with, he's getting the words and he says it 2 times. It's a very interesting method. But what I want to mean is, what I wish to say is that he's also called a medium for the living. So if somebody says a name to him of a partner who's still living, he can actually channel their energy and get what it feels like in their body and their thought stream, and tell that person, and he takes on the mannerisms of that person too.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So this idea of there's so many ways that this can be expressed, and the oneness aspect, obviously, it is that oneness going on, and I think that I'm excited to see what else this develops into as well. It's becoming like we know it's in art forms, it's in so many aspects, but I think it will become more and more expressed.
Yeah.
And I know you do other things as well.
So many ways. Oh yeah, well, there's many different ways you can channel, and then one of the ways that I do as well is that another form of channeling that I do, it's called light language. Many people know what light language is. Is expressed through me. It first came out of me with goddess Isis, and she has called it sacred sound alchemy. So even though I'm channeling, it's not messages, it's actually a sound resonance, the vibrational tones. And so basically it's a channeling, healing and ascension source codes. And that basically what it does, it kind of pierces through the ego, and it helps to bring more light into the cells, helps to activate dormant DNA. What I like to call it is meditation on steroids. That's what I like to call it. So basically you can use it in your meditations, and it's just basically we are energy, right? So when you channel, all you're doing is channeling specific energy codes. We are energy, the beings of the light, all non-physical beings, everything is energy. So it's about tuning into that energy. And if you're aligned to oneness, you can attune to every single energy frequency there is. It's just that we've been so conditioned that we can't do it. So me, for instance, with the light language, is that I usually channel goddess Isis by doing it. She was my teacher here, obviously in this present now, also in Egypt, and also in the Palladian system. So we have a long connection there with her with this. So basically it comes through me when I channel, and what comes through, mine's probably unique to a lot of other people's. If YouTube light language, there's particular language for different races and similar sounds. So basically mine is just vibrational tones. Comes through my voice. It'll also come through my hand. So you'll see me doing certain hand, signaling. And then in more recent times, I've actually doing it with my whole body. So I'm in a kind of a dance movements. So that's a very, very very interesting development that's only happened to me very recently. So that's just another example of how powerful we are as oneness. And the reason why I have these abilities, because I was part of, for instance, my soul contract to bring it forth. And that's just an example of how we all have these unique abilities. We don't have to learn it. I didn't learn it. I know you can learn light language, but I didn't learn this. Literally, it was, like I said, you peel back the layers of these conditionings, and then sooner or later, these abilities you were supposed to express in his lifetime will just come online, I was there doing just my normal meditation, in which I also combine Reiki, because I'm also a Reiki therapist, also a counselor as well. And I was just received a message to start singing. I'm like, all right, I'll start doing it. And then it was very strange. Of course, I didn't know what was happening. And then as I started to produce this vibrational tone, I could start seeing lights and everything. I could feel the energy. I was feeling high. I was like, whoa. And because I have a background of Reiki, I'm very familiar with like energy healing and the effects of that. So yeah, and then it's just developed, and it's just one of my other things that I do. And a lot of people also have these abilities. You can learn it. You can learn channeling. But, the way that we all express our own unique abilities is always unique because of our unique vibration and our frequency. And this is why, those of you out there, you shouldn't compare yourself to anybody, because everyone is so highly unique in everything that we do, you know. And even, for instance, you know, my background also, I'm a counselor and relationship therapist, and the Beings of Delight actually with me co-created a new modality called high dimensional therapy. So this is basically channeling, but with the micro skills of counseling. And it, you know, involves, it's a very healing modality, and it helps with, you know, dark night of the soul, doing the shadow work, really addressing your limiting beliefs. And it actually involves a channeled guided meditation and this light language. So it's just another example of how everyone out there has so many unique ways that you can express the divine within you. You know, I know a lot of people might think, you know, who am I to have such abilities? I was the same. A lot of people have the same, because we don't see ourselves as worthy, especially if you come from background, for instance, from religion. You might see, you know, Jesus, like Yeshua, who I channel Yeshua as well, or the archangels, for instance. If you come from a certain conditioning, you might think, I'm not worthy to contact them, you know. But they are actually all aspects of us. We are worthy. So it's really about increasing your beliefs about self-worth and self-love. You know, I know sometimes it might sound cheesy to just love yourself, but really that's what it comes down to. It really is. And just letting go of these notions that you are limited, because we're not. And you mentioned before that now is the time that so many people are starting to have these abilities become activated within them. It is because it is the time of the Great Awakening. So what the Beings of the Light say is that who we are as humans right now are the most advanced humans to ever have lived. And this is why we are living now in this time continuum, because we're in a transitional period to what you call, you know, the golden age. And this is why there were so many of us coming online and remembering these truths for ourselves. You know, throughout timelines in humanity, there has been cycles of this where we have become more enlightened, so to speak. And we are in that journey now. So this is why, for instance, 2020 has been very crazy.
Yes.
A lot of shifts. It's because it's preparing us. It's allowing us to let go of these programs that we no longer need, let go of the fear, and to connect more with one another, so we can live more in love and oneness. And it's just one step at a time. It's preparing us. There'll be more steps ahead, of course. And this is just one more stage. It's
Absolutely.
for our evolution.
It is evolution, and it's you know, it's funny how you can look back at history from our perspective now and see that, yeah, exactly, we've been preparing for this, and we've had, you know, in Atlantean times or in biblical times, they had certain representations of, you know, these abilities, you know, they came out in very unique ways. And now what's coming out now is also very unique. It's never been in the history of humanity that, you know, people have these abilities and talents, with especially the technological aspect. That seems to be a big, you know, what we're doing now for Jesus would be magic. You know, it's like, you know, okay, he walked on water, but if he saw what we're doing, it would all be, that's just magic as well. I mean, it doesn't matter if your belief is that everybody just believes it functions this way, you know, one-to-one talking with somebody in Australia on a screen.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, on a flat screen that has, you know, it's like, you know, it does take a certain preparation to get there. Yeah, we had the 20th century that introduced these ideas of radio waves and stuff like that. I mean, in the 19th century, and then developed into microchips. And I'm excited about, obviously, yeah, what technology, it seems like it's crystallizing something. Also the corona and all these things that, like, people are going more to within, and the technological aspect of staying at home and interacting in these ways with other people, and it's that's going to cause something totally new to come up that we can't really see yet. And and we know we're being guided, and it's perfect. And you know, I think that the only thing I guess would be is we shouldn't necessarily use past modalities to try to it's something really new, yeah, and we in order for that to totally unfold in a natural way, it can't be put into a form that's passe. Would you? I mean, would you probably agree with that?
That's right. So basically, even if, for instance, for me, my sound alchemy, even though I did it in, ancient Egypt, how it's expressed through me now is different and it's more advanced. And that goes to any timelines. We look to the past, and some of us might go, okay, we're more advanced in Atlantis, or we're more advanced in whatever civilization. And then we see ourselves now as not as advanced. That's just an illusion. Even though the society may seem to be advanced, who we were as people is not as advanced as who we are today. We have just forgotten it. It's only because of this amnesia that we have. It's part of the human program. It's, to be catalyzed, to go through fear. It's to propel us forwards into remembering who we are. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it's a cycle that's always been going through time, but who we are today is the most advanced. Only the most advanced beings would be here right now. Now, you might look in your society and go, how can we be advanced? Look what's happening to the world. And, you might judge, your reality and go, how can I be advanced? I have a 9-to-5 job and, you know what I mean? You kind of look at your surroundings. So how can I be advanced? But that's an illusion. Who we are as an essence and energy is so highly advanced. We have just forgotten so much of it. And this is why it's time of great awakening, where these abilities will naturally come online. Our awareness will naturally come through into a conscious awareness. We don't have to gain anything. It's already within us. And this is why there's so many of us, like so many channels and teachers, healers, that's now coming through now into the mainstream, because we are now ready as a collective to hear it. Mm. It's because as well, as a collective, we have moved further into more oneness remembrance, even though attached to duality. And because of that, we are ready for certain collective soul lessons kind of thing. And, they call it, a great purge. So even though there are great ascensions, so when we receive certain downloads and activations to basically help us remember and integrate more of these higher energies within us, there's also a process of purging, and this is a lot of what's happened in 2020. So it's basically all these programs. If you think of us like a computer, like software, where we're being upgraded, so to speak. Yes. And these programs that's been, outdated, we need to release them. So that's what's been happening with 2020, especially, and recent years. And what happens, because everything is a reflection of what's going within us in our consciousness, this is why you see what is happening in our society, because it's a consciousness shift, but it gets manifested in physical reality. So when you see all this, chaos or, coronavirus, everything happening, reality that you see is maybe not wanted. It's because our consciousness is shifting. We are letting go of these programs, these limitations that no longer need us and no longer serve us. They weren't wrong. Nothing's wrong or right. It just no longer serves us for our evolution. It's all in preparation. What's something interesting is a lot of people are talking about, and beings of light have talked, to me about it for quite a while as well, is that this is all in preparation, because it's all to help us move into oneness remembrance, right? And oneness, not just like with your friends and family, oneness, between country and country, because guess what's going to happen very soon? We are going to know virtually that we are not alone in the universe. And for a lot of people, it might trigger people, because of their beliefs. So this is why it's all in preparation. So when this event happens on a global scale, we would have dealt with our fears and limiting beliefs and all these kind of existential questions. So when it happens, we will know that we are safe. You know what I mean? And that's another step of the evolution that all humanity has gone through. It's another step for us to remember that we are one, not just one with our brothers and sisters, but also one with the universe and all beings of the universe. So it's just one step at a time.
No,
all in preparation.
No, it is, and we're getting away from that old concept of separation between us and non-physical, which is, non-physical is us. Physical obviously is a form of non-physical, where, heavy belief systems make you believe that, the table is really there and has a history and has a definition, and it can only be used in certain ways, whereas, that's what we came for, I think. But we cannot forget that it's still energy, and there's, I think that we couldn't explain that before. Anytime people saw higher energetic beings or angels, whatever they were energy. And then there was also fear associated with that, like,
Mm-hmm.
thou shalt not do this. And then none of these beings are coming through you or anyone else. They're not saying thou shalt, there's no commands. It's just, as you said, it's just like, well, I'm a reflection of you, and I'm come here to take it or leave it. It doesn't really matter. I'm not, obviously, why would they care either way? That, if we want to explore lack and pain and suffering, that's a valid exploration. And
It is valid.
it is, absolutely. And it does serve everything, obviously, because, it's part of the all. And we keep coming back, obviously, and it refines itself. But now it's a new, without the religious aspect. It's the new, without, I need some sort of figure, a priest or a temple to localize and feel safe, that's in the control is somewhere else, but it's in us, and we're now waking up to that. And that's why this is a new age of, that we've come a long way. And it's funny that you should mention Jesus. I had I think it was in my dream last night, actually, though, something, have some aspect of Jesus came up. And it's I don't know if you feel comfortable with maybe doing a brief channeling, or because I know it does require a certain state of being. Would you?
Yeah, I can do it. That's all right. Just need a couple moments to go into trance, basically. And like I said, everyone does this differently. Some people do it instantly. Some people, I go through a process, because I've learned that intentions are important. When you do intentions, it actually imprints the energy. So I do a set of intentions, and then I go into a state, and they basically come forth through me. So yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Right.
Is there any
well, Jesus came up, so I was thinking,
is that who you want me to
I don't know. I mean, I feel
you or anyone else?
no, I mean, if whoever feels like, but if I guess Jesus, if I'm kind of curious, because that's an interesting figure, because there is associations with the entity Jesus that I'm in our collective identity. That's in our Western cultures. It's like that's the go-to, the goat, like the greatest of all time. It's
what you're saying.
that kind of when you think about. I'm curious what kind of energy comes through now. Maybe if you could, how they feel comfortable with that.
Sure. Well, basically, I'm sure there's people here who might be very religious. So just know that if you are very religious and you see these beings in a certain light, I'm not, invalidating your experiences or your beliefs. That's just how they come through me. So basically, Yeshua, Jesus, is an ascended master. So he lived here on earth, and now he's living in a space where he's now providing teachings, just like I do with like ascended master Lakeshman and other beings and other religions, like Guru Nanak Dev Ji, of the Sikh religion, the same. He was an ascended master. There are many different religions who have, people at the top, and they were usually ascended masters, and they are usually helped by the divine as well. So, contrary to a lot of religions, he was a man, but he was a very enlightened man. But, I can bring him. Would you like me to bring him forth for you today?
Yeah, just like a little brief, conversation about the state of things at the moment, and his perspective.
Oh, look, I'll bring him forth, and then what happens is that usually they have a statement, and then you just ask questions, just to let you know. If you're driving, just be mindful if you're listening to this, because his energy is very, very relaxing, and it makes you very sleepy. Just to let you know, a lot of people have experienced this when I channel Yeshua. So just if you're driving, just make note of that.
Okay, cool.
All right. So what I'll do, I'm going to go now into trance, and I'll bring forth Yeshua for you. Okay. Cool. See you on the other side. Hello, dear ones. It is Yeshua coming through.
Hello.
It is with such honor that I come through to you today.
I'm honored as well.
Do you know how powerful you are, dear one? How powerful all of you are. You are expressions of the one of source, but you have forgotten. You are the personification of love, yet you have forgotten your power, dear ones. It is a time of great awakening, and it's a time when you are remembering to this love for yourself, to this truth for yourself. But many of you judge your journeys. You judge your reality. And it's through this judgment, it is through this separation where you get pinched off from the truth of your being and the truth that is love. You are love, for you are source. How can you not be anything else? You are source. And it is through the powers of love manifested in human form where you can remember this for yourself. It is through the powers of loving yourself, being compassionate to yourself, letting go of all things that no longer serve you, letting go of these constraints, these resentments that you've held on to. It is about forgiving yourself, forgiving all others. In high truth, there is nothing to forgive, but because you have attached so much duality, you are so attached to others that hurt you, because you have aligned yourself to this illusion of victim mentality, you cannot see the full truth of who you are, and that is love and oneness. Everything is happening for you out of love. Even your enemies are there for you out of love. Are you able to be in a place where you can accept those that you perceive to do you wrong? Perhaps. But can you let go of how you see yourself in wrongness? What is it about you that you see as unwanted, that you see as wrong? Perhaps there were certain actions that you've made that you have regretted, certain judgments you've made about yourself and your actions. This is the most detrimental ways that pinches you off from knowing who you are, because all is a reflection of you. It is about loving yourself unconditionally, letting go of all perceptions of hurt, all perceptions of wrongdoing. It is letting go of the past, for all that exists now is in the present moment. This is where your true power lies, in the present moment. Dimensions of the past, the present, the future, it all is existence, and you are able to tap into all these dimensions. But some dimensions are empowering and some are disempowering. If you want to connect to your source self, connect to the divinity within you and all that is, it is in the present moment. For it is in the present moment where you connect to your heart and the heart of others. It is here where you connect to the truth that you are love, that you are source manifested.
Thank you, Yeshua, for coming through. And I must say that through my biography in my younger years, especially, the story of the biblical story and ideas of religion were very influential on me. And it came to pass that several years ago, during my awakening experience, I would say, where I realized that, or felt the idea of oneness. So in a total way that convinced me of it. It was a remembering, and I felt your presence, and because I feel like it was the only archetype that I could associate with this energy world, this pure love. And it was also for a friend of mine, I felt his presence. It felt like you sitting down in front of me. And yeah, that's I feel like that's the story of your human life. It has so much of an influence on so many beings here, and perhaps you can touch on that a little bit, because what does that mean for where you are now, or what purpose did you have in your existence of in those times, as paving the way for a big movement in spirituality and religion?
D1, these movements have happened throughout your human timelines. In my existence on earth, whom you know as Jesus, I came through to assist you in the collective to remember who they are, through what you call as esoteric teachings. Through this current timeline and your recent human history, you have used such teachings, and you would say labeled certain teachings as heresy. You have taken some teachings, we would say, and used them in a context of religion and in control. So we would say the truth of who I was, the truth of the teachings were based in love and oneness. If it was teachings outside of that has come to your awareness, it is not from my teachings, it is from that of the church. D1, all is perfect. There is nothing wrong that has happened throughout your timelines. Religion serves a purpose. There's a reason why religion exists, and it does serve a purpose. And it did serve a purpose to my existence in the way that you call me as Jesus. In these times, there was somewhat less freedom experienced in the collective. And there were also systems of control in your society. And let's just say that part of the collective soul contracts was one is that there was a portion of the collective who were ready to remember who they are. And there was another portion who were not ready to remember who they were. And then there was another portion who wanted to control this information for reasons that was aligned to that specific timeline. Now, even though there are certain patterns throughout the timelines, throughout the civilizations, know that fundamentally, no matter who comes through, whether it's myself or other beings that teach love, it is to empower you in every single way. It is about recognizing that the temple is within you, that God is within you, that you are all sons and daughters of God, not as a biological offspring, but as the essence of Source itself. It is not about seeing myself or other beings as higher up than you. That is just an illusion. That is based on duality. In higher truth, we are you. We have just gone through certain cycles of evolution with certain soul contracts that we've evolved through that allows us to express teachings in a certain way. And let's just say, because of the origins of my energetic makeup, so to speak, allowed me to come through in the human timelines in what you may perceive to be an advanced way. And it's only because of my particular soul contracts at the time that allowed me to fine-tune certain abilities that all of you have. It allowed me to connect to the God within, knowing that I was God. Can't you see? I didn't have certain conditionings that other people of that time had, because I served a purpose, just like you serve a purpose, my dear one, just like Kimberley serves a purpose, just like all beings serve a purpose. So yes, we would say it was influential at that time, but there were many others, and there were different organizations that have used such knowledge to their own purposes. And let's just say that all the information is all within you. You do not have to go to a temple. You do not have to even pray to a certain being, because We are all within you. If it serves your belief systems, then we will serve you and will honor your belief systems. But just know, by you seeing something as external, more powerful than you, then it is taking away your own power. If you see something as more powerful than you, then you see yourself as smaller. But my dear ones, you are not smaller. All is equal because all is source. All is just a unique expression of source, my dear one. So, my dear one, you have grown up your life in this way with certain conditionings that has empowered you. And you've also taken on certain conditionings that has disempowered you. Your interests, your life experiences have led you here to this very podcast. It has led you every step of the way. It has led you to ask Kimberley to channel myself. And I come across as an individual being, but we are not one being, we are many. We are multidimensional. So the message here is that it is time to go to the temple within. It is time to see yourself as source. Source is who you are. Source energy is who you are. There is not a being sitting on a throne in a cloud, my dear one. There has been certain stories to assist you in your evolutionary journey, for you to conceptualize the power that you all have within you. And let's just say the teachings have evolved throughout the different timelines because the consciousness has evolved. So the way the teachings were taught in a certain timeline are different to the teachings now because you as a consciousness has evolved. You are now ready to see higher perspectives. Certain teachings had to be taught in a certain way for those humans, for the beings at that time, to absorb those teachings and integrate those teachings and to allow it to activate more of their remembrance. And this is why the teachings are varied, and this is why you cannot take the exact method of teaching in one timeline and use it in this current timeline. For all teachings have to evolve because you are always evolving, because source always evolves. You are the universe and all that is. Everything expands. So all the teachings and everything that will assist you on this journey also has to be in an expansive way. It has to be in an expansive methodology, so to speak, an expansive set of teachings that allows you to remember more who you are, because you're ready for these so-called advanced teachings. You may see them as advanced teachings, but they are not. It is just eternal wisdom that is within you. You already know these words that are being spoken right now. It's just you have forgotten. With these words that become resonant within you, you are starting to remember this as truth for yourself. Do you want?
Definitely.
Everything in your life is guiding you to reveal your life purpose to you, to reveal why you were here, dear one.
As you said, the idea of story is very important for, I mean, it's why we came here. I think the hero's journey, and we can see that in the biblical depictions of your life. There was this development. There's so much symbolism, especially with, numbers, with events that play out, I would say, throughout in other stories of cultures, and it keeps on coming up, of the idea of a rising up, of sacrifice, of having other like-minded communion, and these archetypes, they seem to it reflected in so many ways back in a fractalized manner of that. So it feels like we're at this point of perhaps in humanity where we are on the cross of some sort. It feels like we are being put in a situation where we're not being allowed, or we're having less action being undertaken, more allowing, and so not in a like a brutal way of being put on the cross, but it does feel like, oh, I should be doing less. I should be doing, allowing more. And what are your thoughts on this stage? Is this an accurate representation? And perhaps what comes next is a state of rising and more, I don't know if I would say action, but yeah, of course, yeah, a bit more of that miracle aspect of manifestation that seems like magic.
In the human experience, you gain the most wisdom, the most insight when you have been catalyzed, when you have gone through shifts of what you call as fear. These are just dimensions of the universe, and it's part of the human program, so to speak, is that by you going through so-called challenges in a certain events that make you feel fearful, that make you would say, feel unattached, that makes you feel not worthy. Certain events that happen in your life are happening to catalyze you. And it's by going through these catalyzing journeys that allows you to go inwards, because there is nowhere else to go. And it's by you going inwards into your inner temple is when you realize, when you remember that you've had the power all along, and that you've had the wisdom all along. And we would say that is symbolizing of, we would say, my experience, my near-death experience, yes, controversial as such, but it's in that time when I was close to death, when I had to let go of so much and go inwards, is when I remembered more of who I was. It was in this time when I transcended dimensions. It is here when I transcended the human experience, and I was able to experience life aligned to my next stage of evolutionary journey, just like you are going through right now as a perceived individual and as a collective. You as a collective think that events are happening to you, that people are putting control over you. This is an illusion. This is part of the game of duality. Now, the key to create magic here, the key to see the truth in these experiences, is to see that these people that you think are controlling you, the conditions that are controlling, if you can see that is happening for you, if you can see this as a catalyst movement of energy that allows you to surrender to what is. It allows you to let go of the resistance. It allows you to see the truth of your being. If you can see these situations, these beings from a place of love, of compassion, you may not be able to stand the actions, but if you could be in a state of compassion, then you will see the gifts that is there. You will see the teachings there. You will see the soul lessons there, that they are lovingly guiding you to catalyze you in certain ways, to allow you to remember the truth of your being. And this is all you need to do, my dear ones. You as a society is on a pivotal point in your evolution. You are trying to attach so much of the old. You are trying to attach so much the concept of security, the concept of control. And you as a society are going through certain events that makes you even more want to grab onto control. But these events are actually forcing you to let go. It is an evolutionary path to assist you and the collective to surrender to what is in the present moment, to love in the present moment. Once you can do that, you'll start to see more of your limitless powers that you have, the limitless wisdom that you have. And it's by being in that vibration where you're activating your divine blueprint, these abilities that you may perceive to be magic. You are magic. You are the universe. It is all within you. Know that everything in your reality is, I would say, a dimensional exploration that assists you by triggering and activating certain aspects of your consciousness to allow you to have these activations happen within you, to prepare you to be able to let go what is no longer needed, so you can receive what is now needed, so you can receive more light codes and certain activations that will assist you in your evolution, not just in your energetic, in your consciousness evolution, but also in your physical evolution. You are shifting in every sense of the world, every sense of the way. You are shifting in every dimensional experience. This is what Source is. Source expands. So it's about letting go. It is about forgiving. It is about receiving. It is about loving yourself completely. It is about knowing that you are the love that you seek. You are the light and you are the way. The path is within you. The path is a journey into your heart center. This connects you with your divine source self. It is all there within you, and there is much to be unlearned here, but this is why you are here. It is a time of great awakening, and you are remembering this for yourself, one step at a time.
Thank you, Yeshua. That's a beautiful message, and it's, yeah, I'm you know, there's also this, things are going to happen in the way of a divine unfolding, no matter what. It is, I think, the idea that we have to really steer this boat, this experience, is becoming less and less, for me, necessary. It just seems like, you know, it's about the flow and allowing inspiration to come and just following it, and that fear pops up, of course, when the inspiration comes, and just accepting that does happen, and not beating oneself up about it, but not forcing things. So if we're always, you know, we're only going step by step, and it doesn't, you know, we want to accelerate so much, it's a human thing. And but I feel like, especially, you know, looking back at history and these concepts, one can see that there was definitely a point that comes of, you know, sacrifice of the old and rising the new, and this complete shedding is, it just happens, correct? It's not, it doesn't need me to have much intention behind it, or do I, except for allowing more inspiration to come to me, and seeing the fear as the illusion. Or would you perhaps say that this is correct? Or
all these activations that is happening for the collective is happening automatically because you are living and breathing here. You only have to be open to receive it. But the only work you need to do is to assist in the letting go of these programs that is no longer needed, which means when you are triggered in the moment, when you have an emotion of fear that is in the present moment, then you are being presented with an opportunity. You're presented with an opportunity to see what you haven't let go of. Is it ready to be transmuted from your being, or is it still lingering because you have not seen the full lesson here? Now, there are lessons in all things, not because you deserve to feel fear. It is because you wanted expansion, because you are highly, highly advanced beings. So when you are in a moment of fear, it is about turning that perspective around and acknowledging how powerful you are, that you are now aware of the universe assisting you in such a way. You are able to communicate with this dimension. You are able to not just feel the emotion, but also then detach from it and connect with it. Bring it into your heart space. If you can bring it into your heart space, you have nothing to fear. If you can bring it into your heart space in the present moment, you are always protected. You are always safe because you are source and you are love. If you can bring that emotion, that memory, that experience into your heart center and communicate with it. Ask it, why is it still in your reality? Communicate with it. Is it still something that you have to learn from it? Ask it, can you be shown what is needed from you to continue to let it go? Communicate with it. All dimensions are intelligence, dimensions of fear, dimensions of love. All expressions, all emotions are energy, all is source code, and it is a pathway for you to communicate with source. You can communicate with every emotion. So if it's there in your present awareness, do not disregard it. Do not put it under the rug, so to speak. Embrace it. It is a gift for you. Acknowledge it as the gift that it is. It's about embracing all emotions. It is not about being afraid of emotions. All emotions are there for you. It is there to show you who you are and who you are not. It is about allowing it to ask it, to communicate with it, to receive the answer. And then when you can receive the answer, that is when you can let it go. You can let things go naturally. When you are in the process of purging these programs, often it is felt in the physical body. You may call these ascension symptoms. It is about letting go of the resistance, being loving acceptance of all physical conditions that you have, practicing this divine communication with your body. Your body is divine. Everything about you is divine. Even what you see is unwanted and fear-based is divine. It is just an illusion. It is about being able to open up this heart, this oneness, the beat of all that is by going inward. It's about you seeing everything as a divine manifestation of the human experience. It is when you can accept and embrace all dimensions of your physical reality is when you unlock more pathways into your heart center, where you'll be able to see the love reflected in your physical reality. You are one with all that is. There is nothing wrong with you. There is nothing undesired about you. If you have feelings and emotions that you may deem as unwanted, it is there for you. Everything is happening for you, for you are divine. You wanted to be catalyzed because you wanted to remember love. You do not have to suffer through any negative experiences or emotion. It's how you perceive this. It's how you perceive your life experiences. Do you perceive them as divine experiences, or do you see them as experience that is wrong, that's not supposed to happen? Everything in your life happens for a reason. Communicate with it all and be in loving acceptance with it all. Because once you can love all emotions, all thoughts, all actions that you do, it means you unite more aspects of duality into oneness within you. You then become oneness in action. You then unite and emanate oneness within you, which emanates throughout the world and all that is. It is about connecting the divided aspects of you, fear and love, uniting them in loving acceptance where you remember oneness for yourself. And this causes a ripple effect that affects the whole collective and all that is. That's how powerful you are.
Thank you, Yeshua. Beautiful message. And I'm very, very thankful that you were able to come in and express it. And thank you for your service. And if maybe Kimberley can come back, and once again, thank you, Jesus.
It is my pleasure, my dear one. It is my honor. Know that I'm with you always. And yes, those of you who are sensitive enough, you'll be able to visit with me anytime. I'm always there within you. I am you. You just have to go within and make the intention to connect with me or all beings, for we are you. We are love and we are you. Remember that you are one. Remember that you all have powerful purposes here. Just by you living and breathing, you are expanding the collective consciousness and all that is. That's how powerful you are. And it's through love where you'll be guided every step of the way. Until next time, farewell.
Hello again.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's very moving. Yeah, what he was saying was, it's very, yeah, it's just fascinating because on that other side, everything melts together. So the idea of like an identity of association with some sort of human biography is obviously less there. It's more. But does he feel? Does the energy of Jesus? You said the personality characteristic of that composite feel different than Isis, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, because even though they're all source, they're all unique frequencies of source, just like us, and they all have unique energy signatures like we do. So I can actually feel the unique energy signatures. So for instance, with Yeshua, I just feel this like a softness energy, like this just absolute bliss and love emanating from me, but a very kind of soft and loving energy. Whereas Goddess Isis, for instance, she's a more fiery, strong, feminine energy. You might have, the other session we did, I came through Archangel Michael, so he's another one that's a very strong energy. Channeled Ishtar recently, and she's also a fiery one, but very loving and direct. And it's just, every being has a unique energy signature, which I can feel when I channel ETs. That's a very amazing experience. I actually feel oneness. When with them, it's a completely different experience, and it's just like I'm one with them and one with the universe. And it depends. Like certain beings I channel, they actually show me the universe. They show me through it. As me in the background, as the observer, they show me. So yeah, it's I don't know if, for instance, could you feel the energy coming off in the session today?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you were saying I was also in that chill vibe too, and as you were saying, a bit more that relaxed feeling, and yeah, definitely the unconditional love. I can feel that, and I think that speaks to different people. It's like that was maybe not just for me. That was for obviously why I requested it. So it's obvious that some people have this entryway through ETs or through Yeshua or whatever. But yeah, I had that experience. For me, that awakening had that, at least in the beginning part of it, it was very much the only thing I could associate with that divine love was the idea of Jesus. And it was a feeling I never experienced before. But once you move up in that feeling, I'm guessing, it's like it becomes your normal. So that was like a jump that was apparent to me, and I kind of but now I think it's I would associate it with something else now, maybe, and definitely.
But definitely my pleasure. Definitely he gives off a very probably one of the beings that gives off the most love energy. That feeling of love and bliss compared to all the other beings I've channeled. Like even when I channel Source, like you can't channel the infinite. Source is infinite. It's energy. It's like I'm just channeling source codes, the pure source codes, and there's no personality, there's no feeling, and that's cool for the information. But I actually like my personal preference. It's channeling these beings where I can feel and express this unique energy signature as a projection of source. So yeah, I love Yeshua's energy, and but yeah, it's you know, but like everyone can channel, and so sometimes when people tap into channeling themselves, perhaps they don't know who they're channeling, but perhaps they're picking up just a feeling. And that's a way of, it's just because of my ability. So, you know, people can channel all different ways. I just happen to be able to feel their unique energy as well, and see a visual representation of them. But sometimes it's not necessary. It's just the way I channel. Yeah.
That's could be, you know, like a little bit like music. Maybe source would be like chanting kind of chakra bowls or something. And maybe Jesus comes through as one of those 80s romantic love songs. You know, it's like, for some people, you know, it's a very, I think that the music does have a lot, these signatures can be expressed as, you know, obviously it's vibration, and it's definitely
vibration.
And love is excitement, you know, of sort that can be a bit more like the hip hop vibe, you know, that kind of oneness, or it can be a classical Beethoven too. And it's both, it's all love and expressions,
So
but it's not
different types of, that's right, different expressions of love. So all the beings I channel, even though, you know, fear is just an illusion anyway. So, you know, it doesn't matter if you think you're channeling someone, a being that's fear-based, because at the end of the day, it's all love-based, but the beings that particularly come through me are coming through with the specific purpose of teaching love and oneness. So even though it's all love and oneness, they're all unique in their signatures. So one might be like, for instance, Yeshua is very much about loving compassion and this kind of, I don't know, like this kind of softness, even like a feminine kind of energy. And then other beings is still love-based, but it's more fiery. So it's more like a you go get them kind of energy, you know, like, or very like a brave energy. So it's all different. It's all love, but it's for different aspects and different. Yeah, it's just because I'm very sensitive, I guess, to energies, that I can just pick up those nuances of frequencies of love vibrations.
Wow. Well, Kimberley, I'm very happy that you were able to make it on the show, and it was expansive and fun, and I'm sure the viewers and listeners will get much out of it. How can people reach out to you and contact you or find out more about you?
Sure. Well, firstly, thank you for having me on as well. And so you can find me on my website at beingsofthelight.com. I invite you to join, you know, I've got like Facebook communities, a public group and a private group. I also have a Patreon as well. All the links you can find on the website, and also have a YouTube channel. So you can see a lot of these channeling sessions up there as well. But, you know, all the links you will find is on the website, and also the audio only podcast I have as well is also there. It's all there on the website.
Yeah, I'll put also links in the description, so people can easily click on and find out more about you. And
thank you.
Thank you for your service, and I wish you a wonderful evening now. I think, is it evening, right, in Australia?
It is evening now in Sydney, yes, just past 6:30 p.m.
Okay, 10:30 here, and have a sweet dreams, yeah?
Wonderful, thank you. Have a wonderful day where you are.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.